At 8 o'clock, we got Georgia State, who went 7-6, traveling to Georgia Tech, who started season 1-0, baby. And I got to talk about Georgia Tech's upset. First, Georgia Tech favored by 22 points on the ACC network. Darren Granger for the Panthers last year went 244, 358, threw for 2,621 yards, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Marcus Carroll had 274 carries on the ground for 1,350 yards and 13 touchdowns. And Robert Lewis had 70 catches for 877 yards and 7 touchdowns. Haynes King last week went 11-16, threw for 146 yards. Not dazzling stats, but Jamal Haynes had a good day. He had 11 catches for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Malik Rutherford had 4 catches for 66 yards. Those two teams have never played, but we've got to talk about what Georgia Tech did last week. Because Georgia Tech in week 0 pulled off the biggest shocker so far of this young college football season. And that is they went and they beat Florida State in Dublin, Ireland, baby. And they did it in a weird way. A lot of people, when I was heading into the game, what I expected is if Georgia Tech were to win, it would have been a lot on Haynes King, right? Him being able to throw the football and Florida State making mistakes. Florida State didn't throw any interceptions. Florida State didn't fumble the ball. They turned the ball over once on downs, but really it was a mistake-free game from Florida State. It's just Georgia Tech outplayed them. And on the lines, too, which was the most shocking part, right? Georgia Tech's offensive line just bulldozed the Florida State defensive line, which was, again, a strength last year and was supposed to be a strength this year. And then you look at the opposite side, is Florida State's offensive line got absolutely demolished by the Georgia Tech defensive line. They couldn't run the ball after the first drive, really. And that's not good, right? And I think what Georgia Tech showed the world is, number one, how strong of lines that they have, and number two, that their run game is going to be really hard to stop this year. It was really hard to stop last year. It's going to be really hard to stop this year again. Haynes King is a very good runner in his own right. Jamal Haynes is one of the more underrated backs in the ACC. And I think if you're going to look at this from a realistic perspective, Georgia Tech has a shot, right? And not like I understand it. They have a hard schedule. I'm not going to say like that, it's going to be an easy schedule. I think next week they play a really good ACC opponent already. So it's like no breaks for no breaks, right? So, I mean, it's going to be hard. It's a hard path. I understand Georgia Tech probably is not going to be a playoff team. But I think what Georgia Tech did is they established themselves that, at the very least, if you're looking at it, is probably the second or third best team in the ACC. Like, objectively, right off the bat. They beat Florida State, and outside of Clemson, I don't know if you can name a team that I think deserves to be in the top 25 more than Georgia Tech. Obviously, I think a lot of Virginia Tech. Obviously, I think Louisville should be pretty decent this year. Obviously, I think of a lot of NC State. But no one has shown what Georgia Tech has shown so far. And maybe that's different. Maybe that changes. But I think Georgia Tech has established themselves as a possible front runner and possible favorite to go to the ACC championship game this year. They have a really good team. I'm really excited to watch this Yellow Jackets team play. I know I didn't talk a lot about Georgia State. It's just because I'm not that excited about them. I've been excited about Georgia State in the past couple years because I love watching Granger play. But the fact is Granger's gone now. Every single player I just listed for Georgia State is gone. And it's just like it's going to be a rebuilding year. Realistically, it is for Georgia State. I don't just see how they're going to be able to compete right off the bat. It seems hard for me. It's hard for me to fathom them being able to just start getting it clicking right off the bat. I like Georgia Tech here to win. I like Georgia Tech here to win by a lot. It's a great tune-up game heading into hard week 2. Give me the Yellow Jackets to win and cover at home.